Hello there, thanks for tuning in to your favorite news destination. You're watching In Your Interest with me, Kabir Naqvi. And tonight, first up, we need to talk about a story that perfectly captures what's broken in our system of accountability. It's a story about power, about privilege, and the permanent protection that seems to shield those who wear the badge of bureaucracy. Take a look at this. Sanjeev Khirwar, the 1994 batch AGMUT cadre IAS officer, is back in the national capital, and he hasn't returned quietly. He has been appointed to one of the most powerful positions in the city, the Commissioner of the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, the MCD. From clearing a stadium for his own pet for dog walks, to now being in charge of clearing the city's civic mess, Mr. Khirwar has completed his journey from the wilderness of Ladakh back to a plum posting here in the national capital. Now, back in 2022, reports surfaced that athletes at Delhi's Tyagaraj Stadium were being asked to vacate the premises earlier than usual. Their training was being cut short, and the reason wasn't maintenance or security at the stadium premises. It was so then the principal secretary, Mr. Khirwar, could walk his pet dog on the tracks without any disturbance. The government acted swiftly. It was the Aam Aadmi Party Sarkar back then, or so it seemed. Sanjeev Khirwar was transferred to Ladakh. His wife, Rinku Dugga, who was also an IAS officer, was transferred to Arunachal Pradesh. And the message was clear, or so we thought. This kind of arrogance will not be tolerated. This kind of entitlement will be punished. But here's where the story takes a turn, because in India's bureaucracy, a transfer is not a punishment. It's a routine administrative move. Khirwar's wife was eventually compulsorily retired, but Khirwar himself, well, he served his time in Ladakh, and now less than 3 years later, he's back. Not quietly, not in some low-profile posting, but as the Commissioner of the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, overseeing civic infrastructure, overseeing sanitation and services for millions of Delhiites. It's a plum post. So, why was there no stricter action taken back then? Why are we seeing him back in power now? Well, the answer lies in the rule book itself. You see, in the Indian administrative system, there is a massive difference between a suspension and a transfer. Suspension is a severe penalty reserved for grave misconduct, corruption, or criminal offences. A transfer, on the other hand, is considered routine administration. And in Mr. Khirwar's case, despite the public anger and outrage, there were no formal charges that were framed. There was no corruption case, no criminal FIR. And without a charge sheet or a formal inquiry proving grave illegality, the system finds it very hard to justify a suspension. And the rules require necessity for suspension, not just public outrage. Essentially, the system treated the dog walking incident not as a crime, but as an administrative hiccup, which is why he's back. And this brings us to the bigger picture. Does rules protect its own officers more than it protects the public interest? If we truly want to end this VIP culture at large, we need more than just temporary transfers. Experts argue that we need to change the definition in our service rules. Misuse of public facilities like a stadium funded by the taxpayers like you and I must trigger a formal inquiry, not just a flight ticket to a different state under the garb of wilderness transfer. We need time-bound probes so that disciplinary reviews don't drag on until the public forgets, and once it's all quiet, they can come back. We need independent oversight panels that aren't controlled by the same political or bureaucratic masters, and most importantly, we need transparency and accountability. If an officer is brought back to a top and plump post, the public deserves to know. Was the file closed? Was he cleared? Or did we just wait for the storm to pass on? The big questions that we're asking tonight. Is a transfer really a punishment? Or is it just a paid vacation disguised as discipline? That too, to the beautiful valley of Ladakh. If misuse of authority doesn't lead to a permanent mark on a career, what will stop the next officer from doing the same thing? And finally, is the crackdown on babudom impossible because the people writing the rules are the ones breaking them themselves? With me on the broadcast, Dilip Cherian, founder, Perfect Relations and Image Group, a social commentator. Many thanks for taking out the time. And former DGP Ranjan Dwivedi. Many thanks for taking out the time. And of course, soon with us is going to be a political analyst. But, you know, DGP, let's get the snowball rolling here. Is this a classic case of transfer as punishment that's failing the public test? The storm is over, people forgotten about it, and he can come back, that too at a plump post. When an officer involved in a major public controversy resurfaces in this powerful role, doesn't it indicate a structural weakness at large?
No, Kabir, with all humility, let me submit that I think the premise of this entire debate is a little misplaced. You see, there's no posting which is plumb. There's no posting which is easy. There's no posting which is a punishment. These are cadre posts and officers can be posted anywhere, number one. Secondly, what a posting in Ladakh requires is the same thing that is required as a posting in Delhi in terms of the challenges in the conditions and the environment.
Okay.
It requires an officer with tremendous physical and mental tenacity, energy and perseverance, and with a temperament to handle all that, to work in the tough conditions of Ladakh. And Delhi, we are in Delhi, we understand the conditions over here. The Municipal Corporation of Delhi also requires an officer of a similar nature. So Sanjeev Khirwar being put there in Ladakh and put in Delhi, I don't see any difference, number one. And secondly, Sanjeev Khirwar is a tough officer. He's an outstanding officer, and 6 months later you can have a debate. And you can debate and you will see the changes that he brings about in the conditions in Delhi. I can assure you that.
Okay, all right. I mean, first and foremost, with all due respect, DGP, this isn't a debate. We're discussing here. Nobody's against each other. And I'm glad you've come out with that particular point as well, DGP. But, you know, from a governance standpoint, I mean, isn't this a familiar pattern that we see? A transfer replaces real accountability, and then time becomes the entire system's safety valve. I mean, this VIP culture, of course, I'll bring in Mr. Cherian, but I do need to understand, I mean, what then should have been the premise of this discussion? Why are people now talking about it? Take a look at what's happening on social media. People want accountability.
Yeah, Kabir, you're right. See, people get influenced by social media and what people would like to believe, like to understand, and see things with a particular eye. You know, that is an incident that happened long time back, more than 3 years ago, when it was alleged that Sanjeev Khirwar himself is an outstanding sportsman. I know Sanjeev Khirwar inside out. Even in his wildest dreams, he'll not do anything that goes against the spirit of sportsmanship and sportsmen. Now, what happened there, I wasn't a part of the inquiry. We haven't seen the final report. Yeah. But he's a different man than as is being perceived by the people. He's totally different. And the perception is totally misplaced. And that is why, this whole question, and that people have this conception in their mind that you are sent to a tough locale, that's a punishment posting. If you're brought in Delhi, that's a plum posting. You see, all these are, these prejudices are there in their mind, the beliefs are there, and it's a result of that people are saying that he's brought in here. But otherwise, I personally don't see any substance in all this. He was in a challenging position there, and after all, the government is responsible. You place a government and then let the government use the resources the way they want to do it, in the best interest of the people. Ladakh needed a tough officer with tenacity, perseverance. Sanjeev Khirwar had these qualities. He was there, and we all know that managing the Delhi Municipal Corporation is an extremely challenging job with a huge backlog of work to do. And Sanjeev Khirwar will live up to it, I can assure you.
Well, I mean, he will live up to it. We'll take your word on that particular front. But what happens to that entire case? I mean, from cleaning out the stadium just to walk his pet dog, even if so, quote unquote, allegedly, sir, there needs to be some sort of answers that the public officer needs to give. I mean, he could be a great officer, but then there comes responsibility with great power.
No, sir, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But you see, firstly, officers never get a chance to speak to the people, number one. And secondly, we don't know what really happened there. I mean, in that report, I haven't seen that incident. I just heard that somebody got on to a under construction building and with a zoom camera took some pictures. And it was alleged that he is walking his dog there, and athletes were prevented from coming using the stadium after a certain point in time.
Yep.
Now, what was the inquiry report? One doesn't know. What it finally said. Now, if the debate was that, then we should have got the inquiry report. But if the debate is about Sanjeev Khilwar, the kind of officer he is, and whether he was in a punishment posting, and whether he's in a plum posting, then what I've said is...
So the actual discussion is about, is it time for actual accountability? We need an inquiry in this. Why weren't files not opened? The public should know about that. Let's bring in Mr. Cherian. I mean, all pertinent points that you've raised, duly noted, sir. But I mean, Mr. Cherian, what message does this appointment now send to ordinary citizens out there, from your own social commentary background to the athletes that are watching this show as well? I mean, the limited opinion, what I read in the morning was that power, it can wait out the outrage. And public memory, of course, fades. In the day and age of social media, I mean, we're as good as goldfish out there.
You're right in the sense that public memory tends to be very, very short. And this controversy, in a sense, has blown over. But I think the bigger issue is that the public now begins to understand that bureaucrats and their colleagues and their ilk are actually beyond the pale of the law. That's one. The second thing that we need to understand is that, there probably is another very good reason which we have not talked about, which is that there is currently a massive shortage of good officers to man very important posts. So we have to understand whether the posting of Khairwar is a result of the fact that MCD needed a tough hand, and despite his and in some senses you have to limit any punishment. It can't be that you keep him on punishment posting, though the DGP insists that there is no such thing. The fact is that within the cadre, and we all know this, within the cadre, some positions and some locations are known as places where you are sent like a Kala Pani kind of thing. But despite the beauty of Ladakh, the fact is that the return of Khairwar means that the government, in its wisdom, and the people manning these, these positions from where these decisions are taken, have either been under duress or under pressure because they want a good officer, or because they found that upon examination, the criminality of his action was not as big as made out.
And what do you say about people asking and questioning VIP culture that refuses to die down in the country? I was going through several posts on social media, sir. What does one make of that, Mr. Cherian?
I mean, the VIP culture issue is dogging us every day. You understand what's going on in Noida just now, after the sad death of a person, and the person responsible, the actual person responsible, has not been transferred. So the public anger about these kinds of positions, and the fact that you need to pin specific responsibility in the time of social media, because in the social media there is no place to hide. So the fact is that you will have scrutiny of this kind, and you will have discontent being spread far and wide. We certainly hope that Mr. Khairwar at the MCD does a fantastic job, and that is what is expected of him. But the fact is that there is the other side of the discussion, which is who looks after VIP culture and who makes sure that the public is not feeling cheated.
No, you've raised a pertinent point over here that, there is a clear-cut dearth of good officers to man these, top and important posts. And I think DGP has also made that same and similar point. But let's have the viewers understand, DGP, what qualifies actually as a grave misconduct under the current of the All India Services rules. Let's help them understand. Then if this is not a case that merits a proper inquiry, then what does? Should this entire case have automatically triggered a time-bound inquiry? What does the All India Services Rule actually tell us? And what qualifies as a grave misconduct, sir? Let's educate the viewers on that front then.
Yeah, Kabir, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right that public servants are supposed to maintain a certain demeanor, a certain way of life, which is actually pro-people, encourages people and gives them full opportunity to live the lives the way they want. No, that's true. And as Dilip mentioned, that you take the Noida case. I mean, the Noida case is a case where there was a definite omission and in performance of duty and requires some proper action to be taken, even criminal action or disciplinary action, so that it becomes some kind of an example, and we become more responsive to what the people need and their security. You see, that's a different situation. And I'll also add, there's a lot of substance in what you say. That there is a VIP culture. I'll give a very small example you see every day. The court has said very clearly, no vehicles should bear any stamp of government. Even for police officers, they can't ride Police Commissioner Ghaziabad, Police Commissioner Noida on their vehicles. However, we find almost all government vehicles saying Government of India, Uttar Pradesh Sashan, and so on. I mean, this is basically a display of authority to be able to get privileges on the road you don't deserve. So that malaise is there. But I'm saying, but that's a relevant issue, important issue. It should be addressed very severely. But, Sanjeev Khairwar's case does not fall in that category.
Okay. DGP, I'm running out of time here, but I'm going to ask you one more question. And this is not to put you in the spot here. Many thanks for answering all those questions. DGP, the thing is that there are people out there who are looking at the Noida case, who probably read headlines with what Mr. Kharwar's plump post is now talking about. Again, I'm going to refrain from the word plump. His new posting. You're right. All posts are equally important. All jobs are equally important. Does the bureaucracy still operate as an untouchable class? That's a question that the ordinary citizen is now asking out there.
Yeah, you see, that question, Kabir, is an important question and a relevant question. It is true that it's very difficult to take action against a civil servant because of the protection they have in the Constitution. I mean, that's true. That's why you see there's so much rampant corruption. But how many people are actually prosecuted for corruption? You see, that question is relevant, and the courts have to play a very important role in this. That when people are found to be at fault, they should take action and people should be punished. And we all know from experience that given the kind of misdemeanor that's there, the corruption that is there, the punishment meted out is not, for all level of criminals, a government servant, is really paltry and small. And unless that is addressed in a big way, we will not be having proper governance in this country. But that's an important question. I'll give an example. Even in the Noida case, you see, I was on another panel on I think it was your TV only, News9. You see, when an RWA official said that he wrote to the authorities in Noida that this problem is there, the authorities said that this is a problem with the irrigation department. Now this is absurd. You see, once a citizen tells any wing of the government, this problem is there, he has done an honest, faithful job. It's the job of the government servant then, to whom it's been informed. So whatever is necessary, if irrigation department is there, you tell them. If transport department is there, you tell them. If PW is involved, you tell them and coordinate. But you can't tell the citizen that, look, it doesn't, you can't pass the buck like this. And for and even in the Noida situation, you see, the point is that the problems people have, what you see is just the tip of the iceberg. Because this engineer, he lost his life, therefore the whole thing was blown up. If the engineer had somehow scrambled on the car and saved himself, and the car had down, again, this halabalu wouldn't happen, which is very unfortunate. Because so many times, we are at fault, we are remiss in our duties, there are faults in the system. NCR is the prime area of the country. There's not enough coordination for agencies in Delhi, Haryana, and Noida to get together to address the problem collectively. Because if that system was there, those protocols were there, SOPs were there, I'm sure
DGP.
assistance and resources will come.
I personally feel it's about not legality, it's about credibility. And we hear your point. You're speaking in favor of Mr. Kharwar. You say that he's a real good officer, and I hope he carries out his job, which is actually expected of him as well. Akhil Khan, let's wait and find out. Akhil Khan, political analyst, also with us on the broadcast. Many thanks for joining us. We're wrapping up this segment, so final 30 seconds, 1 minute to you, sir. It's quite ironical that in a city that's marred by the dog problem, we've got a dog lover who's come at the helm of the MCD. Let's see what kind of job they do. But what do you see? How are you looking at these developments, his posting and the headlines? How do they read to you? What do you make of it?
BJP, as everybody knows now, that they are making the mockery of our democracy. The mockery of MCD. They are not performing for the people, for the benefits of the people, for the wealth of the people. They are just creating notankiya. नौटंकिया की मम्मी जो है हमारी चीफ मिनिस्टर भी बन चुकी हैं, और ये पूरे देश को पता चल चुका है कि दिस इज ए काइंड ऑफ नौटंकी इन आवर Delhi, which is the most important city of India.
Well, you've got two other panelists, Mr. Khan. There are two other panelists, DGP Dwivedi, Dilip Cherian. They're upholding the credibility of this officer. They're saying he's a great officer.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. They are just making all lies for all lies. You see, the Bharatiya Janata Party has been doing since many years, for the last 10 years. They are trying to divert the real attention, and by doing all kind of things which is not right for our democratic setup. And most importantly, they have made all those administrative system in our Delhi, at least, that people are not believing what BJP is telling and what they are doing. This kind
Mr.
of
Khan.
things. You see, your dog Minak in Delhi is very high. It's many months together.
So basically, Mr. Khan is of the opinion that this is all nautanki and drama to divert attention. DGP Dwivedi says that he's a man of credit, and Ladakh is no easy posting. It's no paid vacation, and we need a Mr. Kharwar type of a gentleman and a bureaucrat right at the helm of the MCD. And Mr. Cherian raised a real good point about the dearth of real good officers that are over here as well. We're gonna wrap this segment up. DGP, many thanks for taking out the time, because this isn't just about one officer or one incident. It's about what happens when public outrage fades and the system then resets. Are those questions worthy of being answered? When misuse leads to transfers and not consequences, should there be a time-bound inquiry, and time becomes the escape route, not accountability? The question isn't legality. I've said it before as well. My limited opinion, it's about credibility. MCD budget right around the corner. Let's see what kind of work Mr. Kharwar actually does on that particular front. A quick commercial breather here. Our second segment coming right on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
लूजर।
लाइफ हो या इन्वेस्टिंग, ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस से नुकसान भी हो सकता है। म्यूचुअल फंड अपनाओ और थोड़ी हेवी लिफ्टिंग एक्सपर्ट्स को भी करने दो।
म्यूचुअल फंड निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। योजना से संबंधित सभी दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
पढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
इतनी दूर कैसे करेगी? ऑटो लेगी क्या? नहीं अम्मा। तो सरप्राइज। जिद्दी लड़की।
इसकी जिद ने दी इसे एक नई उड़ान, टाटा कैपिटल 2 व्हीलर लोन्स के साथ।
back. Thanks for staying with In Your Interest. If you're watching this news broadcast on your phone while sitting in a cab or your car in Bengaluru, then you aren't just stuck in traffic. You're stuck in a global crisis. A new study is out and it confirms that every commuter fears Bengaluru has been ranked as the second most congested city in the entire world, only after Mexico. According to the TomTom Traffic Index from 2025, the tech capital of India is now the gridlock capital of the world, second only to one other city globally. Let's look at the numbers because they actually are terrifying. The average speed in Bengaluru has dropped to just 16.6 kilometers per hour. There are practically runners out there who are running faster than that on your treadmill, because during rush hour, it gets even worse, crawling at just 13.9 kilometers per hour. And just to put that into perspective, a fit person could probably jog to work faster than you could actually drive to get to work. It now takes over 36 minutes to travel a distance of just 10 kilometers. But the real cost isn't just speed, it is time as well. The data shows that commuters in Bengaluru are losing 168 hours a year stuck in traffic. That is one full week, 7 whole days and nights of your life completely vanished every single year. Pune has ranked 5th globally, with commuters losing 132 hours a year. Mumbai sits at rank 18, Delhi at 23, Chennai at 32. And from the north to south, our urban centers, they're pretty much choking. We're adding over 2,000 new vehicles to Bengaluru's roads every single day, yet our public transport infrastructure simply can't keep up. We often talk about traffic as an inconvenience, the reason for being late to a meeting, but we need to stop seeing it as just a nuisance and start seeing it as an economic disaster. Reports indicate that Bengaluru alone loses a staggering 20,000 crore rupees annually just due to traffic delays. And that's nearly 5% of the city's GDP, and simply burned away in fuel and wasted productivity. On a national level, traffic congestion is shaving off nearly 2% of India's GDP. And then there is the health cost. We're spending over 1,000 crore rupees treating health issues related to emissions. It's a vicious cycle. We're literally paying for this congestion with our money and, needless to say, with our lungs. The big question that we're asking on the segment tonight: if India's Silicon Valley can't fix mobility, is it really a tech hub, a hub of innovation? And if traffic costs rupees 20,000 crore a year, why isn't public transport treated like a financial emergency? With me on the broadcast, Satya Prakash, Vice Chairman and Spokesperson, KPCC, Vijay Grover, Senior Journalist, many thanks for taking on the time, sir, and Anand Gurumurthy, Spokesperson, BJP, Karnataka. I'm going to get the snowball rolling here with Mr. Grover. Bengaluru has been slipping down the traffic charts for years now, Mr. Grover. What fundamentally, according to you, broke first? Is it planning? Is it the political will, or is it clear-cut enforcement? These new numbers, the TomTom report, I mean, it's quite, enraging if you look at the numbers.
Kabir, you touched the pain point of every panelist over here who's from Bengaluru, because this is something that we face on a daily basis. And I don't think so that anybody would have any political differences on this.
Well, we'll see, Mr. Grover. We'll see.
Oh, yeah, you too, Kabir. So this is something where, we need to figure out a solution. And this is something where, a long-term strategy and the time to crack the whip has come. I think so. The IT sector, which was a boon 2 decades ago, today has become the bane of the city, where we're seeing about 5,000 companies being added to the Bengaluru city every year. Now, why is it not necessary? I mean, this is the question both to the BJP and the Congress, because every politician is now vying for the fact that he wants investment in the city. And no doubt employment generation is a thing, but not at the cost of the people. And, this is something where you touched on everything about the health, the traffic, the time wastage, everything. But also, if you see in the last 1 year, the number of road rage incidents that we have seen, this is all because of the traffic jam, where, you come across practically every day somebody beating up somebody because of, a minor scuffle or something, and we've seen people lose their lives. So this is something where, the governments now need to understand that time has come to disincentivize companies to move on or you need to punish them that if they want to be in Bengaluru for a long time.
Yeah.
It's not about money, it's not about investment, it's about public concern, public health. And these are things which need attention. And that's where I think so there can be no political difference of opinion. There should not be anything that, you are having a race between different cities. Because the two tech capitals, if you talk of Pune, if you talk of Bengaluru, are the cities where we are seeing this kind of influx, and the problem is only getting worse by the
Mr.
day.
Grover, if the metro is expanding, congestion is worsening. What do you think is not working out? Is it public transport density? Is it the last mile connectivity? Is it the planning when we're talking about land usage? What's the biggest problem right now which needs addressal?
Kabir, 20 years back when Infosys had only a single campus, which was the biggest one, I still recall there were hardly any employees who traveled by cars or bikes. Everybody used the Infosys buses, and we could see them crisscrossing, be it with Infosys or Wipro. Everybody was using public transport. Today, what's the scenario? If there are 500 employees in a company, there are 400 cars which go there. And, all the SEZs, all the complexes, the tech parks are now choked. If you see all the choke points in the city are around the tech hubs of the city. And that's the problem. Affordability certainly is not an issue at all. If you're adding 2,000 vehicles every day, the IT employees can afford with the bank facilities and all that. Now the time has come to punish that in case you need to use your vehicle, you need to pay more. Something that D.K. Shivkumar had floated a few months back when we heard of, the ORR congestion and the kind of traffic jam scenario that was there, that there has to be a cess to disincentivize people and discourage them from using private vehicles and use public vehicles when it comes to on a regular basis, on a daily basis. That I think so somewhere the whip needs to be cracked.
Yeah,
there should be no
absolutely. Just a couple of months back, there was a new flyover that was inaugurated. Maybe Mr. Satya Prakash can, refresh our memories. And, it was a great sight, free-flowing traffic on that particular flyover. And then the camera pans to where the flyover is ended, and it's a traffic jam right at the end of the flyover. So, people are getting to that traffic jam a lot quicker because of those flyovers. But again, Mr. Satya Prakash, you're the current ruling dispensation. Need to ask you a couple of questions. Congress has been in power for quite some time now. Why do you think Bengaluru's traffic situation hasn't stabilized, let alone improved? Because the city, I've been talking about those numbers, loses nearly 20,000 crore rupees annually to congestion alone. Traffic management hasn't improved, and it's not being treated as an economic emergency. What does the Congress party have to say right now? Over to you, Mr. Prakash.
Hi, Kabir.
Hi.
This congestion is not a sudden phenomenon, Kabir.
Yeah.
This is an amalgamation of 25 to 30 years of mismanagement, as far as the unplanned city is concerned, both as far as infrastructure is concerned and overpopulous growth. Say around 30, 40 years, my friend Grover, during 90s, I came to Bangalore in 1990s. There was not much of a difference in population between Bangalore and Pune. Today, if you compare Bangalore to Pune, Bangalore has grown multiple times. So, huge growth in population on one side, while population is growing at the rate of 10%. Vehicle population, according to me, every year there are 10 lakh additions, two-wheelers and everything. But the road infrastructure improvement is improving only at the rate of 1 to 2%. So this mismatch of infrastructure improvement and the population of vehicle and population of people on one side. The population of vehicles is nearly more than the population of people. I am getting a feeling that the population of vehicles is more than the population of the house. For example, if in a house 4 people are living,
that could very well be a possibility. You're right. That could very well be a possibility. We're asking the question right now. You're right. This is not a problem that has happened suddenly after the Congress came to power. That's not the point. The point is that with 2,000 vehicles being added daily, has the government even discussed about it? Are there boardroom talks? Like Mr. Grover was pointing out, should we push harder for congestion pricing, about parking reforms, about disincentivizing buying of these cars? That's a real problem that we need to look at.
See, our budget size is somewhere around 4.2 crores. 4.20 crores. So 4.2 crores. Lakh crores, sorry. If 20 crores is the loss, That means it is nearly 5% to 6% of our budget, and if you remove the committed expenditure, it will be somewhere around 10 to 12% of our budget. It is time the government has a separate ministry for urban transport. I'm telling you, not only Bangalore, Bangalore, Mysore, Belgaum, Gulbarga, and all these mega cities. And it is time that we need to see how we can do it. How we can do it? One thing how we can do it is we need to use technology, AI-based traffic management, AI-based traffic signals. People are today looking at, the Google Maps and seeing whether I should go by this road or no. When a normal individual can do that, why can't the traffic management of the city do that? Wherein, regularly, if I am coming from Silk Board, from on the other side of Whitefield, they say you don't take the Banchankri road, you go by this road. So AI management, this sort of outbound messages can go to different customers. That is one way. Second thing is, like Mr. Grover said, incentivizing those who set up factories outside Bangalore. Why only Bangalore? Today, what we are doing is we are trying to integrate Jodhpur into Bangalore. We are trying to integrate Tumkur into Bangalore. We are trying to integrate Kanakpura into Bangalore. Why? Instead of that, why don't we take the factories only outside? If we have to do that,
I think Congress can lead the way. When you're talking about a separate ministry, the Congress party can lead the way on the state level. Let's start it in Karnataka.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. That is what I would suggest the government, that a separate department should be there to handle urban traffic. And one good way is your mass transport system has to increase, and integration of the mass transport system like BMTC feeder services, metro, the severe integration it should happen so that mass transport.
Okay, all right. Let's bring in your BJP counterpart over here as well, Mr. Gurumurthy. Many thanks for joining us here. Let's not waste any more time. If the BJP returns to power, what would the BJP do differently? Not rhetorically. Let's talk about what structural reforms the BJP is going to bring in to really ensure that Bengaluru starts moving and in the right direction.
Okay, in 2009 and 10, I was part of Traffic Action Committee,
okay,
which was led by Mr. M.S. Salim, who was the Commissioner of Police then. Now he is the DG IGP. Okay, he in fact has a doctorate in traffic. That time Sadanand Gowda was the CM. So you know what? Why he was made this Traffic Action Committee chairman along with Commissioner Mirji was, we took a call that politicians will not get involved in this. This is something the officials have to do. And in that committee, the commissioner would call a representative from BDA, chief engineer level representative, or his executive engineer has to come, BWSSB, then all departments, major departments, including BBMP, everything. The reason was, Bangalore actually has structurally only 4 major roads: NH4, NH7, Inner Ring Road, and Outer Ring Road. Okay, at that point of time also, we used to have a lot of issues regarding the traffic. Remember, there was no metro at that point of time. It was only, construction phase of metro. So all this, if you see, at that point of time, one of the major things that has to happen is the selection of officers should be left to the head of the department. Whether it is the police, traffic police, or the civil police, they have to be led by the head of the department, not by individual whims and fancies of politicians. Now what is happening here, every other person is invading this space and telling that Bangalore has a problem. It is not Bangalore's problem. It is the way we have to manage it. In fact, even just before this Congress government, when Bommaiji's government was there, Mr. Salim was in charge of Bangalore traffic, lot of things had changed. And a plan was set into motion to bring in metro at a faster pace. But that did not happen in the last 2 years. Lot of habits of Congress government during Siddaramaia's first period, and now we are seeing, okay, same thing. They stopped funding to many projects. They increase the number of potholes by not maintaining the roads, spoil the entire, environment, and then finally say that, okay, it cannot be managed, or say big words like AI and other things. I tell you, there's a simple management technique which our police people know. Okay. And our DGP, IGP is an expert. Just put him in place. You all stop putting your heads there. Politicians everywhere, MLC, MLS,
okay.
And let him lead the show. It will happen in 15-20 days. Okay, I can promise you that, because I have seen him working and I was in part of that committee.
Well, all right. The BJP spokesperson saying it can be fixed in 15-20 days. Final 20 seconds, Mr. Satyaprakash. I need to go to Mr. Grover for his final comment.
Yeah. Only if it was as easy as my friend Anand Gurumurthy is saying over this thing that,
I agree. It's not as easy. I agree. It's not as easy. Absolutely.
There are so many other problems. There are infrastructure problems. There are widening of roads. That is problem. See that flyover from Hebbal, once we build the flyover, the outer ring road, problem solved. The bottleneck is again in front of that bus stand there.
That
is because the problem.
And there's a government hospital at that bus stand. And there's a government hospital at that bus stand. You know what? Completely running out of time here. I'm actually glad we could actually touch upon this topic. People are reading the TomTom report and then just throwing away memes at Bengaluru. But this is the problem that actually needs some sort of redressal. Mr. Grover, is Bengaluru still fixable? Final 30 seconds, sir.
Well, yes, the IT companies will at least have to take a very strong call and ensure that public transport is used by at least half their employees on select days. And that will reduce the traffic congestion on several important sectors. The second thing is the metro is caught in the crossfire between the center and the state. I think so the center and state will now need to come together and ensure that the work which has been extending or delayed for such a long time needs to be fixed on time.
All right then. Mr. Satyaprakash, Mr. Gurumurthy, Mr. Grover, many thanks for joining us here on the broadcast.
More money also for
Okay. All right. Well, that's the KPCC word. Some more money also. Well, Bengaluru's traffic crisis is no longer about inconvenience. It's about lost time, lost money. And let's see if the people who are actually living in the metro want the metro to succeed as well. Reports can rank it, politicians can explain it, but unless planning replaces patchwork fixes, this gridlock is only going to get worse. A quick commercial breather here. Our final segment coming right on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
रिश्तों को रंग दो, दुनिया को रंग दो।
Birla Opus Paints.
फाइनली हमारा घर।
तुम्हारी जिद का नतीजा।
मैं नहीं होती तो तुम्हारा क्या होता?
इनकी जिद ने आज इन्हें दिया एक परमानेंट एड्रेस टाटा कैपिटल होम लोन्स के साथ।
Open it up, what do you see? A champion inside you and me. Run, sing, build, dream so high. Touch the stars, reach the sky. At Orchid School we all believe every child's born to achieve.
All right, then, before we close in your interest tonight, an important update that directly affects every motorist that's watching this show. From the 1st of January, new amendments to India's motor vehicle rules have now come into force, and they significantly tighten the consequences for repeated traffic violations. Let's explain this clearly for all our viewers. If a driver commits 5 or more traffic violations within a single year, their driving license can now be suspended. That's right. This applies only to offences committed within 1 calendar year. Violations from previous year will not be counted. The duration of suspension will be decided by the licensing authority, and importantly, the driver must be given a chance to be heard before any punitive action is taken. Officials say that this intent is simple: to curb habitual offenders and improve road safety. Now, what kind of violations will come into count? Overspeeding, driving without a helmet or seat belt, jumping traffic signals, illegal parking in public places, overloading vehicles, even offences like vehicle theft or violent behaviour with co-passengers are included in the list. And here's the key point viewers must note: even a combination of minor violations can trigger action once the total reaches 5. There's also a significant clampdown on unpaid toll dues. That's right. If toll charges remain unpaid, key vehicle services can now be blocked. No NOC for interstate vehicle transfer, no renewal of fitness certificates, and no national permits for commercial vehicles. The traffic violations now carry real cumulative consequences. Road discipline is no longer optional, and digital records mean every offence counts. That's all for this edition. In your interest, drive safely and stay informed.
झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कर आता है। बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
फाइनली हमारा घर।
तुम्हारी जिद का नतीजा।
मैं नहीं होती तो तुम्हारा क्या होता?
इनकी जिद ने आज इन्हें दिया एक परमानेंट एड्रेस टाटा कैपिटल होम लोन्स के साथ।
लास्ट टाइम कश्मीर गई थी ना, वहाँ खाया शहद, पर उसके लिए कश्मीर जाना पड़ेगा। अरे कश्मीर क्यों जाना, कश्मीर ही यहाँ आ गया।
सुंदर वादियों में महकती खुशबू और रंग बिरंगे फूल, इनमें से शहद निकाल कर जमा किया जाता है असली शहद, लायन कश्मीर हनी।
असली शहद, असली स्वाद।
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
Let's take you through our top story this evening, a mega News9 exclusive. Ahead of the February elections in Bangladesh, former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who's currently in exile in India, has spoken to News9 in an audio message directly challenging Chief Advisor Mohammad Yunus to face her in the upcoming polls. Sheikh Hasina has dared Mohammad Yunus to contest elections from any constituency, saying, let the people decide who actually has public support. She's questioned why the elections are being conducted in a way that prevents Awami League from participating, insisting that her party must be allowed to contest. She's accused Yunus of designing a mock election with no real mandate, claiming at least 50% of the voters support the Awami League. That's her conviction. Sheikh Hasina has also alleged that Yunus is trying to legitimize illegal power by manipulating votes. Launching a sharp attack, Hasina has accused Yunus of exploiting the poor, laundering money abroad, misusing Grameen Bank, and questioned what mandate he has really to ban the Awami League as a party. She's also said past student protests were not about quotas, but a planned move to oust her government. Let's hear it.
আমি ইউনুসকে আহ্বান করি, আসেন আমার সাথে নির্বাচন করেন, যে কোনো কনস্টিটুয়েন্সিতে আসেন, দেখি কে জিতে, কাকে জনগণ ভোট দেয়। আজকে নির্বাচন দিয়েছে, কেন আওয়ামী লীগ নির্বাচন করতে পারবে না? কেন আওয়ামী লীগে ভোট দিতে পারবে না? অবশ্যই আওয়ামী লীগকে নির্বাচন করতে দিতে হবে। আমরা নির্বাচন করতে চাই। হ্যাঁ, 2014 সালে বিএনপি ইলেকশন করে বয়কট করেছে, 2024 সালে তারা বয়কট করেছে, 2018 সালে একটা সিটে একের অধিক তারা নমিনেশন দিয়েছে। 300 সিটে যদি 700 নমিনেশন দেয়, তবে নিজেরাই যা মারামারি করে নিজেই উদ্যোগ করেছে। এখানে আওয়ামী লীগের দোষটা কি? কিন্তু 18 সালের নির্বাচন নিয়ে সেটাকে বিতর্কিত করে, এটা তো ইউনুসের মেটিকুলাস ডিজাইনের অংশ। সব তথ্য বেরোচ্ছে এখন। আজকে আমি বলবো যে আমাদের কৃষক, শ্রমিক, ছাত্র, জনতা, মেহনতি মানুষ, নারী সমাজ, সকলে যে যেখানে আছেন সবাইকে ঐক্যবদ্ধ হতে হবে। এটা কোনো নির্বাচন হচ্ছে না, এটা নির্বাচনের একটা খেলা। এখান থেকে কোনো জনগণের ম্যান্ডেট আসবে না। নির্বাচন নামে একটা প্রহসন হচ্ছে, যেখানে আওয়ামী লীগ অংশগ্রহণ